I've been doing a lot of shoulder shrugs at my gym. Feel difference?
Nope.
What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday. Happy Cryptostackers. Happy Forest Day. And welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. I am one of your co-hosts, David. We are coming at you from our studio here in Las Vegas, Nevada, with our week daily, only on the daily weekdays live shows. I know that didn't really make sense, but we're going to roll with it. Before we get into the content, quick disclaimer, nothing that anyone says on this channel, especially the chat, should be taken as financial advice. So please, as always, do your own research. With that out of the way, I'd like to introduce you to your other co-host, Big Rob. What's up?
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, the boring, the stale information, and we package it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, here at Sin City Crypto, we don't just do live streams. We also do deep dives that we haven't done in a while. We also do YouTube shorts, and we are actively typing away in social media channels. So if you haven't followed us on Twitter, Sin City Crypto 1. If you haven't followed us on
YouTube.
YouTube,
The link to our YouTube is in the channel of this YouTube.
you know, we did run across a channel that the guy put his link to his YouTube channel in his YouTube channel description. I'm like, you, sir,
You
okay.
special.
It's like posting your address inside of your house. Oh, we like to make fun of people here.
I don't know. He may forget.
Yeah, hey, you know, that's right.
You may forget where you are. Here you are. You're on YouTube.
Now, it's Friday.
Yes.
Friday, fun day.
By the
Forest
way,
Day. What's
if
up?
you missed the show yesterday, shame on you. It was such a good show.
Also, if you didn't already do so, hit the like button. How many likes we got so far? Ain't enough, whatever it is.
Nothing's ever enough for you.
It's not. It's not. Real quick, let me go ahead and knock this roll call out of the way. Roll call. All right, we got Robert Salazar first in the chat. Congratulations to you, Robert Salazar. You are an eager beaver. Now we got Brokyoshi, K Factor, Atomic Atom, Why You Loud, Gang, Brokyoshi, already said that, Hit or Miss. We got Chef Murder, Fino, Servando, Sir Babe,
What about
Strictly
my boys?
Sports.
Yeah, there you go.
We got Shizzy, Big Chili Willy, Marky Mark, Nordy Guy, Liquidated Shorts, Handy. We got Crypto Whelp, AZ, and that rounds it up. I already said Sir Babe.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, sure did.
All right.
Yeah, man.
I'm seeing a lot more regulars in here. Liquidated Shorts looks like one of our new regulars. And Crypto Whelp's been in here quite a few times.
You know, we actually got a new crypto fam, new member. So I'm not even familiar with them. James Bella, have you heard of James Bella?
No, but James, if you're watching, thank you. Please say hello. We would love to recognize you. and
James
say
Bella, welcome to the club. He might be one of those people that watches, you know, after the fact. Not everybody watches live, you know.
True.
And then we got Wheelin' Dealin' James Wheeler. Narrowly made roll call. So there
You leave my boy James out of this. James,
yeah.
I miss you, James.
Yeah, Daniel.
And R.A. Daniel as well. Yeah. All right. If you join the
Wait,
chat.
does that mean we get a new emoji? Or one more member?
I don't know. I have to check. I'll let you know.
Rocco, have you thought about what emoji you're going to do?
Not yet. No,
Okay.
I'm working on it. It's gonna be something juicy.
Are you also working on your members only video? We're waiting patiently.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna take a little more time because I had.
You have to cut some stuff out. You don't want.
No, I rent a special. You know, there is a special car at the end of the show. You know, there's proof for the people. They're gonna have a proof that I can drive.
For Robin or for the people? Because
For
the
the
people
people.
don't doubt you, bro. It's Robin.
Yeah,
No, but it's
if
gonna
you're
put
going to
it
have
there.
proof, I want a dash cam. You need to plug in one of those things that, what do you plug into your car with the insurance company used to have? They like track your driving habits. Terrence Jackson, what's up? Welcome. All right. What's on the slate today?
That's
I know we got Force, but
Before I go the slate, before I talk about the slate, will you give my friend Christopher Bowerman hola first time?
Oh, my boy Christopher Bowerman. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. He dropped Olad with the correct spelling on his first time.
My dude.
Oh.
What does he get? Round of applause? Round of applause. Congratulations. All right, if you're watching after the fact, we will have timestamps in the video so you can navigate freely, but we always recommend watching from beginning to end so you don't miss out on any exciting content or random Robin stories or other fun things. So today, Bitcoin, is it dead? Or is Bitcoin in trouble?
Bitcoin's under attack.
Bitcoin's under attack. What does that mean? Gary Gensler's onto his ways again. There's a battle between senators and who will regulate and who will decide who will get the final vote as to who will regulate the cryptocurrency markets. We're also talking Voyager. Customers are going to start getting some of their money back. Nomad started getting some of their money back from the Nomad hack earlier this week. Also, Justin Sun is going to back an Ethereum fork to keep it proof of work. Talk about that. Also, of course, Forrest from Cryptostackers Pro will be taking over our Market Watch segment of the show. Love having Forrest on. If you've never seen Forrest, you are in for an absolute treat today. We're excited. He's going to come on in about the next 10 minutes. And then rounding it off with some NFT news. And we'll send you off to the weekend with smiles and giggles and a lot of love. Not from Robin. He doesn't give love. From me, most. I love everyone. Yeah. Anyways, Robin, let's not waste any time. Go ahead.
All right.
Take it away.
So taking a look at the crypto markets here, Bitcoin coming in at $23,008.72. Still at the $23,000 range. I think we were as low as, was it 22.5 yesterday? And we've discussed this. The 22.5 seems to be more or less local support here, or new support line. So we bounced off. I mean, I know this is technically 22.6 here, but 1, 2, 3, 4 bounces in this week on this mid 22 range. Now we seem to be testing it again. What do you think? This is now a major support zone. Do you think if we say by going into the weekend we hit 21,000, do you think we're trending further down? Do you think like 19,000 is on the table, things of that nature?
I think 20. If you put in the word major in there, I would go 20. 22.5 it's a support level, not a major one in my opinion. You want to talk major?
But here's the thing: as the more and more touches you get on a support zone, the more and more prominent it becomes. The more you need to respect it.
Yes.
And I'm just saying, at some point, And then we also have Terry. Terry been here before?
Terry has.
Okay.
What about AJ?
AJ, yeah, he's been here.
Okay.
And then Glenn Stockley as well, back in the house. Welcome, guys. And also, let's try to open up the club today, man. We didn't open up the club once this week. We're setting the club limit at 60, keeping it nice and simple for a barrier for entry. And then we're gonna go into our TA here a little bit. We're just giving you a quick rundown on our thoughts as far as the market. But Forrest is going to give us a little bit more deep insight on the trajectory of the markets. But as far as price action, Ethereum, $1,670. A little bit more volatility in the Ethereum, at least versus the other top projects. So we're seeing these big swings as low as $1,574 was kind of the bottom here for the week. And if you want to take a look at the price action this month, we were as low as $1,000, not even, but was it about 3 weeks ago? Something like that. About 3 weeks ago, $1,000. So looking good. Feeling good about Ethereum, man. This is what you want to see out of long-term sustained growth. This is the month chart, so looking pretty good. And then lastly, just to round out the market as far as some big gainers, Near Protocol up 16%, Theta up 15%, Hollow is well up 12%. So a lot of green in the market. There is a minimal downside, at least in the last 24 hours. So that's positive. Also, a little bit of tick up in the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, sitting at 31. I think right now we're in this like consolidation phase, right? Don't you agree? Kind of this wait and see.
I mean, for me to see, and I'm curious to get Forrest's thoughts when we bring him on. For something like BlackRock, to essentially jump into the space and Bitcoin doesn't move?
I think that's just affirmation, man. Affirmation that we're in a bear market. You have the largest asset manager, right? I mean, I guess it's not really
they are the largest.
Yeah. So the largest investment company, asset manager, whatever, all of their arms, whatever title you want to give them. Big ass company, tons and tons of money. How much do they have? $10 trillion, right?
Well, they lost 1.6, so they have about 8.4 now.
So, anyways,
still
an absolute behemoth in legacy finance, partnered with Coinbase. And so the fact that news broke and Bitcoin and crypto in general did not move, the only thing that moved was Coinbase's stock.
Yeah, that thing shot up like 40%.
So I think that's just kind of, it's a reminder of where we're at in the market cycle. If that news would have broke during, the run up of the last bull run, you could easily see a 20, 30, 40% pump in the markets. So speaking of markets, still a little flat, not too much going on. NASDAQ down 0.5%. And we did get, so we got some negative news from Walmart. So basically Walmart's forecasting some losses next quarter. And we also got our job market in, or the jobs report. So economy adds 500,000 jobs in July as hiring surges. So U.S. employers added 500,000 jobs, now has recovered all 22 million jobs lost from the COVID-19 pandemic. Unemployment also fell from 3.6 to 3.5. Economists have estimated that 250,000 jobs were added just last month. And here is a kind of a breakdown of some of the jobs here. So leisure and hospitality up 96,000. So if you're going out to eat,
this is just posted openings, correct? Not people who have gotten hired, correct?
That I'm not sure.
Go back to the
no,
article real quick,
it should be. Yeah, this is hiring. Does it list it as posted openings?
Well, that's added job.
Yeah, so these are the employment numbers. So these are the jobs that were added. Now this is year over year, right? And so I don't know.
I don't think it's you.
Is it not?
I don't think so.
Anyways, so a couple things going on.
It's a narrative, so that's good.
Yeah, a couple things going on. One, a lot of uncertainty in Wall Street. Two, you have two sides of the fence when it comes to economists and experts. Even in the crypto side, you have a handful of people, a majority, half the people saying that market's going to go this way. We're not in a recession. We're coming out of a bull market. We're going to go into another bull market. This is, the bottom is in. Then you have another, the other half of the people are saying the opposite and saying that, hey, at least in the crypto side, hey, we're going to be testing out $12,000 Bitcoin, $15,000 Bitcoin. And so obviously you have the two forces on other sides of the order books. And so right now, that's why I think we have this consolidation. I don't see any of this narrative fundamentally changing in the next few weeks. So I do think we're going to continue consolidating, because I don't think we're going to all of a sudden rally out of the bear market, and I don't think we're going to go further down, at least not in the short term.
You know who would have an idea if we're consolidating?
Amazon and the Roomba robot.
No.
They just bought the Roomba robot.
Well, Amazon also just laid off 100,000 workers.
And maybe they're replacing them with Roomba robots. Did you think about that? The Roomba robot looks awfully similar to the little robots that do the picking in the warehouses. You've seen those, right?
Yes.
They when you order something from Amazon, it's not a worker that goes and grabs it out of the bin. It's a robot. And so, conspiracy theory here, but I think they're going to take all the vacuums and turn them in to order pickers. Dude. I'm just saying. They're very similar, bro. Very similar.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there.
Good conspiracy theory.
All right. Well, without further ado, right? Time? Let's bring our boy on.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Hey.
Forrest, what's going on, brother?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us again on Friday. Hey,
Question: You got a Roomba?
I got a quick.
Yeah, I got a room, but honestly, not a fan. It's kind of annoying. Like more
It
often
is.
than not, it goes off at a specific time, and then I got it like it's too loud, and I got to go turn it off. Like it'll come on in the middle of like filming a YouTube video.
And then it wants to act stupid and hit the couch leg, and then doesn't know where it's going and just shuts off. And you got to pick it up and take it back into its little hole.
Yeah,
So, question.
yeah.
So we're gonna see you in a week and a half. Who are you more excited to meet in person, me or Robin? Please be honest. You're not gonna hurt feelings here.
I can't answer that. Both you guys.
Come on, man.
Should have
not
just said
gonna-
Rocco.
Not going to drive a
Listen.
wedge between us this early. You know,
We got an Airbnb, okay? If you want to join us for dinner one night, Robin's gonna overcook. I mean, he's gonna cook some New York steak. So if you want to join us,
You know,
please.
before I got into YouTube, a Michelin star chef here. Culinary school, worked for Gordon Ramsay.
Michelin star chef. You mean you worked for Michelin star chef?
Yeah. I never received a star myself,
yeah.
but I
look
was
clear.
a sous chef at a two-star Michelin restaurant. So
All right. So before we get into the the TA, a couple things I want to talk about. So one of our community members, I believe it was AJ, said Mount Gox dump incoming. So these are supposed to be released, I believe, in August. What are your thoughts on how that's going to affect price action and just the price of Bitcoin? Is it going to dump it down under 20K? Are you not concerned? What are your thoughts for us?
honestly, don't have severe concerns about that. I feel like I've been reading that headline and hearing that news for a while, and something tells me the market will probably price that in to some degree before it actually happens. That's the way it usually goes. Obviously, the dumping of Mt. Gox to Bitcoin in a large amount would be negative for price action. But again, like if there's entities that have large amounts of those tokens, maybe they can sell them OTC. It's really tough to tell. I try to really focus in on price action when there's so many variables to account for outside of just price action.
Now, do you? So there's a channel called Invest Answers. The gentleman's name is James. Does great content, and he had a spreadsheet, and he did if 20% of the released Bitcoin got dumped, 33% and 50%. And the numbers he showed was even if 50%, which would be right around 67,500 Bitcoin, got dumped on the market, it would only affect the price. It wouldn't go under 20.
the thing is the Mount Gox thing, from my understanding, is that everyone that had their accounts hacked or whatever it was, or lost they're just getting back the value they had at the time of the hack. So if they had, say, $10,000 invested,
You're getting half the Bitcoin.
Yeah, they're getting only $10,000 in return. Even if at the time they had 30 Bitcoin was the valuation for $10,000. $10,000, you're not getting 30 Bitcoin. You're only getting $10,000. And so for that reason, I think it's going to be underwhelming as far as the impact on the market. Now, if they did receive all the Bitcoins back, somebody has it. So whether or not they give it to the consumer that lost it, or they end up dumping the market themselves, that is some kind of factor. I do think it is a non-factor as far as price is concerned, but I don't know. We'll see.
Forrest, let's pivot. BlackRock, Coinbase. What are your thoughts? Is this good for Bitcoin? Is it bad for Bitcoin? I had my little take yesterday. I said the vision Satoshi had when he created Bitcoin is dead with this announcement. Now you're going to have institutional money come in. It's not just going to be for the little people to take back control of their financials. Are you surprised that there was no price movement to the upside when it was announced, being BlackRock is the largest asset manager in the world? And are you bullish or bearish or kind of neutral?
I think it's long-term bullish for the crypto space, for that level of wealth and wealth management to be coming into the space. If you look at like all of the potential pension funds that could be taking a 1 to 3 to maybe even 5% allocation to Bitcoin or crypto in the future, that's a staggering amount of money. And BlackRock, while they are the largest, they're just one asset manager. I'll ask my neighbor about. I think I told you guys last week. My neighbor is actually a portfolio manager for BlackRock, so I'll ask her and see what her thoughts are. Yeah. Sometimes I see her walking her dog. Next time I see her, I'll ask her about what her thoughts are on Bitcoin and if she has any inside scoop or insider info that she can share. But yeah, I mean, I think it's bullish. I think we're just in a really awkward market, a very confused market. The market doesn't know whether or not it should be going up or down. So when we get these big news announcements, it just kind of goes flat. Nobody knows exactly how to trade it. I do think it is an opportunity for a ton of money to come in, and it's into the crypto space and to Bitcoin in particular, and that should be bullish. I think also, when we're in these confusing times, oftentimes the reaction to these big news events can be a little bit delayed, especially if we're already testing key resistance. Maybe it's not enough to get us through that resistance. But it reminds me of Helium Network when they announced their partnership with Dish Network, which is a huge partnership. Helium Network just went flat for like 3 or 4 days because the market was kind of crashing. There was bad news elsewhere in the crypto space. But then like 3 or 4 days later, Helium Network pumped like 60%, seemingly out of nowhere, but it was off of the Dish Network news. It was just like 3 to 4 days delayed. So I wouldn't count that potential scenario out either.
Also, I think, you're adding potential, you're adding liquidity. And even though the volume might be down, you're adding in you're removing barriers for entry for people that traditionally don't have exposure to crypto, at least not in the same investment lanes that they had before. So when you see the next bull run, or when you see the price of Bitcoin rallying, and it brings on new retail investors that are like, hey, this Bitcoin thing, maybe now is a good time to get in. If you have the liquidity available via BlackRock that has plugged in a ton of new users, then I think it's not something you see right now. It's something that increases the potential for volume, and it increases exposure as well.
Absolutely.
I had a question. We both had follow-up questions. I was like, all right, Robin, you go first. Okay, you put out a very interesting video today on optimism. Now, we know optimism saw massive pump, right? It's one of the best performing, I believe, over the last 7 days. But you're a little more bearish on it. And by the way, and I'm going to ask Forrest just to kind of give a quick recap. If you want his full thoughts, go to Cryptostackers Pro YouTube. I believe the description is in the video. If you're on this channel right now, you should already be subscribed to the channel. If you're not, go do it. Cryptostackers Pro on YouTube. Watch the video on optimism he did today. But Forrest, can you just briefly summarize why you're so bearish on optimism? Is it more tokenomics? Is it price action, or is it something underlying as far as, maybe code or utility?
Yeah, so, wouldn't describe it as being necessarily super bearish, but definitely cautious and definitely not jumping in at current price levels. I think it's overvalued. And I hesitate to use the word bearish because the market can be irrational at times. And when stuff starts pumping, even in a bear market, these things can go really ridiculously high and become very overvalued, as we've seen time and time again with cryptocurrencies. But to recap, optimism is essentially, it uses technology called optimistic rollups. It's basically a scalability solution built on Ethereum. So it's a layer 2 scalability network for Ethereum. Now, works a little bit differently than Polygon, which is Matic, or Immutable X, which is another one, or Loopring, which is another layer 2 scalability solution on Ethereum. From my Arbitrum is another one. They don't have a token that trades at the moment. From my understanding, the tech may have some different pros and cons, probably more pros than cons by the looks of price action. But in terms of the token's valuation and the value of the network, or the fully diluted market cap, it's trading at a very similar, probably about a 90% of the valuation of Polygon right now. We know that Polygon is a very high quality project. We know that they are an absolute marketing machine. We know that they have a ton being built on them. They have multiple technologies woven into the fabric of Polygon. They've got partnerships with big players. They're in Disney's like accelerator program. So Matic and Polygon is just extremely well established and well positioned in this market, and it's trading at, I believe, like a $9 billion fully diluted valuation. Optimism just recently dropped and has half the total value locked on its chain as Matic does, or as Polygon does, and it's trading at like an $8.7 billion valuation, like almost as much as Matic is. So it doesn't add up to me. I just don't think that the risk reward ratio is there to jump in. The other big thing is, and this is what burned so many people in this bull market, there's a low float. What that means is that the actual percentage of tokens that are circulating is only 5%, meaning that if they unlock future tokens, the subsequent inflation to that token supply is absolutely massive. So what essentially happens is when you start out with a low float or a low circulating supply, the price action becomes very volatile and very easy to manipulate by holders of large amounts or large portions of those tokens, especially when they're unlocked. When they're unlocked, the token price is susceptible to being dumped, and there's just not enough liquidity in the market to absorb the new tokens coming onto the market and being dumped. So to me, there's a very high risk of price falling very rapidly and crashing. And for that reason, I want to look for short positions in the short term. And at the very least, I really don't want to look for long positions at all on Optimism. Now, as far as tech goes, I've heard it's very, very solid. Very, like, I'm not fudding the actual project or the tech. It's just the price action and the valuation right now for me is on the more expensive side.
But, that's one of the players in the Ethereum ecosystem. For your like investment strategy, are you I know you're big in Ethereum, but are you leaning more just into straight Ethereum, or are you diversifying a little bit on the portfolio? Are you getting other exposure to like Polygon, also like perhaps Loopring or other projects, or even pretty bullish on the Ethereum NFTs perhaps? Or are you just right now, because of where we're at in the market, you're just trying to keep it safe and just lock it up in Ethereum, basically?
I am de-risked to spot ETH. So while I oftentimes come across as this, like I've constantly been saying, like, I'm taking a pretty bullish stance despite, like, the recent market downturn and the bull market or the bear market, and that can kind of come across as like, I'm like super high risk. But I've actually de-risked into mostly spot Ethereum. So I'm not playing in some of these smaller caps that have higher risk, or basically higher beta, higher risk, higher reward plays. So while, yes, I am being very aggressive with my investing strategy in terms of the amount of accumulation that I've been doing at these levels, from $2,000 Ethereum all the way down, that is all in spot ETH, which in my opinion is considerably lower risk than as soon as you start, going down to stuff like Polygon or Optimism or, stuff that's lower cap plays off of the Ethereum merge narrative. So that's how I'm balancing it out. I'm very heavy spot ETH. I'm not getting leveraged, and I'm not going into these lower cap layer 2 plays off of Ethereum, even though I do think that they have the potential to do very well in a successful merge situation. I'm just very aggressive with my allocation, but less aggressive with what the risk of the assets that I'm allocating that capital to.
Yeah, I've been eyeballing Loopring, man.
Loopring?
Yeah, I know they're really far down on the market cap list, and I think there's going to be a resurgence of DeFi next run up, and I think Ethereum's going to lead the charge on DeFi, and I think Loopring is probably the sexiest platform. Honestly, I mean their interface is clean, easy, simple to use, growing as far as users. So something I'm keeping an eye on, but I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't think now is the right time. And maybe it is, in my own personal opinion. I don't think it's the right time. I think there's going to be further pullbacks when it comes to these smaller projects. So I'm just wondering on your thoughts on that. But
one last thing before we get into the charts. Have you been following the Solana wallet draining hack thing?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? So I saw a couple, and I can't do code or read. I know you do, right? There's something about, I heard there was something in the code on Slope where they were uploading people's seed phrases or something like that. Can you kind of elaborate, or what you know?
Yeah, so it's I'm like almost laughing, even though it's really, really sad that people lost a lot of money. So first of all, like it's important to draw the distinction that this at this point in time does not seem to be in any way due to Solana. Solana as a project or anything in their code. It is a software wallet, hot wallet, Slope, which is the basically one of the Solana counterparts to MetaMask on Ethereum. There's Slope and there's Phantom. Those are the two biggest ones. Phantom is by far the biggest. Slope was one of the smaller ones, but still had a significant amount of users. My understanding was that they were taking and I don't know exactly how they're supposed to be encrypted, or what exactly the vulnerability was. But my understanding was, from what I read, they were taking people's seed phrases and basically storing them on centralized servers that may or may not have had proper protections in terms of encryption. I guess, they didn't have proper encryption. So yeah, I guess they were able to access a database full of people's seed phrases and start draining their wallets. I don't know who the perpetrator is. I don't know if anybody knows. But yeah, very bad on Slope and their wallet.
That's terrible. Now, is that commonplace for these hot wallets to upload seed phrases onto a cloud or a centralized cloud?
I don't think so. I think that's what was so egregious about it. Now, I don't know for sure. I am not an expert in this field at all, but I think that's kind of the take that I got from reading about it. That was a pretty egregious mistake to be doing that.
No, I think people that use hot wallets are gonna. I think that industry is gonna evolve into a versatile cold storage wallet. So basically, you would have your USB stick that you would just plug in and use intermittently when you want to. I think the hot wallet's just too dangerous, man. Because you don't know
that's what they're doing.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, this is one example, but I mean, here's at the end of the day, like, could you see something like that happening to MetaMask? I could. And so, if I have 100% encryption on my USB stick, and I just simply plug in and allow and adapt to use, and then unplug, and then they have no more connectivity to my wallet, I think that is probably the direction we're going to go for mainstream use case when it comes to using your wallet for NFTs or just execute smart contracts.
This is essentially the price we pay for being early.
Yeah.
Sucks, but it is what it is.
For sure. It's no different than, well, it's a little bit different, but early days of the internet, tons of scamming going on, especially with ads, tons of malware, downloading music off of viruses. It's a lot safer for the average consumer to hop on and use the internet than it was in 2003, 2004. So I think we'll get there. I think you're right.
I agree. Cool. All right, Forrest, we're handing this channel off to you, my friend. Please do your thing.
Sure. All right. So can you guys see my screen okay?
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't want to spend too much time on global macro, but I do think it's worth noting that oil has been falling. We're under $90 a barrel, and I think under $90. Again, I'm not a global macro oil expert by any means, but these are levels that are much more sustainable to our economy's ability to function, gas prices, the likes, to have and CPI coming out in the future. These are much better, more tenable prices, right? We're under $90 a barrel. I think we can deal with that. It's a lot less scary than when we're up at $125 a barrel, and everything's being affected, and everything's scary because the price is super high. I want to start out with Bitcoin, and I want to cut out some levels, right? And my goal here is to zoom out and simplify crypto for people, simplify Bitcoin and Ethereum. We can go into some altcoins if we have time and if we want. But I think everyone's confused about where the market's at right now, myself included to some degree. But I think we can all agree that as long as we believe that an asset is going to perform well over the long term, whether that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or a different altcoin that you believe in, then it just simply makes sense to buy when it's cheap and sell when it's expensive. Right? Buy low, sell high. I don't think anybody can disagree with that logic. If you buy low and then you sell high, you're going to make money. So we just have to then define what is cheap and what is expensive. And what is cheap and what is expensive changes over time. So we can kind of carve this up by market cycle, the last 2 market cycles, and we can kind of draw our ranges here, right? This would be the range that I would draw for last market cycle. It's very easy to draw this particular range. I'd actually put it at around 12,000. It's very easy to draw this particular range because we can see all of the data, right? We're not in real time wondering if we're going to drop out of this range or rise above it. And it's worth noting that I believe the Bitcoin halving was like somewhere in this range, right? So what is cheap and what is expensive? Well, less market cycle, this was expensive. This was expensive, right? And what was cheap? Anything below $6,000. I'm going to lower this a little bit, $6,000. And you can see those are actually key margin pressure levels off of each other. So off of 6,000 support, 12,000 is the 2x long margin pressure level. That's where buyers really run out of steam to push price up higher on leverage. All right, so the strategy here would have been simply to range trade this. Buy when it was cheap and sell when it was expensive. Well, we got 2 really bad deviations from this range, the high side and on the low side. My personal belief is that we're not in all too different of a situation right now. I would probably put this range at roughly 30K to 60K. And we may, it's unclear, be in a very similar deviation now to what we saw last market cycle, last bear market. Now, it's very difficult right now to sit and tell whether or not this trend is going to continue or whether we're going to go down to 12K. I personally don't think we're going to. We absolutely could. But my personal opinion is that we're probably in some sort of a deviation. Now, you could potentially, it's very difficult to draw this range in real time because there's a lot of uncertainty. We haven't seen exactly how this is going to play out yet. But you could also very easily draw this range from roughly 24K to 48K. And those would, again, be our 2x margin pressure levels off of each other, where we've seen some resistance. And we're starting to see some resistance right now at around 24K. Now, if we play out similar to last market cycle, we would, probably be coming back up and retesting the top of this range, which is great, but we don't know exactly whether or not that's going to happen. And ultimately, it doesn't matter, right? Because what I'm trying to get at is we need to be buying, like if our strategy is to buy low and sell high, or buy when it's cheap and sell when it's expensive, and we've just defined cheap and expensive with a couple simple lines, and we'll get into this in just a second and find some shorter term levels that we can dictate and start defining cheap and expensive. But if we've defined cheap as like under this level, then Bitcoin's pretty cheap right now. And if we've defined expensive as over this 48K level, this is very easy to just sit and say sell and sit and say, buy, right? And it's not always easy when you're in the moment to sell up here because everything looks so bullish, hence why price is that high. And it's not very easy to buy down here when everything's bearish, and hence why price is low, right? It's always difficult emotionally to make that decision because the whole reason price is down here is because everything seems bearish. Nothing seems to be helping price out and move higher, right? But it helps us simplify, when do we buy and when do we sell? How do we simplify our strategy? We just have to define what's cheap and what's expensive. Now, I do want to go over to Cryptostackers Pro on Bitcoin and throw on the easy bands, because while this can be tricky to do these, these static line ranges of support and resistance, and you can see that we get these deviations, what the easy bands do is they just make it a moving average. It's based off of moving averages and margin pressure levels, and it's more dynamic based on how the market is moving. And we can see that, from time to time, we get cheap and we get expensive. Red is expensive, green is cheap. And it's not 100% perfect all the time, but it's close enough to help us create a strategy that is profitable. And you can see right now, we've recently popped our heads out of the cheap range. So right now, for me, Bitcoin and Ethereum, well, I'm mainly Ethereum right now because the next catalyst that's coming up is Ethereum merge. I'm DCAing. DCA is not on. Not anymore. DCA'd in this zone. We're starting to get this relief rally. And now I'm just looking to play a little bit of a de-risk level at the 21-week simple moving average. What do I mean by de-risk? It just means that this is a good resistance level to take 20, 30% off the table, right? Sell a little bit and wait to see what price action does. If we break through it and start running up high, we can get back in at a very small loss, right? If we sell 20 to 25% at the 21-week simple moving average and we drop, right, and it was just a bull trap or a relief rally, we can always buy back in the next time we come back down to these green easy bands. Very simple, right? And if we break through and we sold a little bit and we don't want to necessarily get back in, we still have 70, 75% of our bag left to ride up to these take profit zones, right? So this is, I know it's a very simple strategy, but as far as, some longer term levels, that's what I'm paying attention to. Right. So right now, I do want to carve out some shorter term levels, as well as levels that we could look at as overlapping with long term levels, and obviously the one everyone's talking about, and what does, I wouldn't say scare me, but make this a potential good candidate level for a top here at 24.6 is that this 1x short level would bring us perfectly down to this support at around 12.3K. And we also have support here between 16 and 18K. I'm a very big fan of 16K support. I think if we did make new lows, there's a chance that we would just be stabbing 16K and find a lot of buyers waiting down there to push Bitcoin back up. And for us to hit something like 12K, I think we would need a really nasty negative catalyst, probably in direct relation to Bitcoin in some way or another, some big forced selling, maybe the Mt. Gox thing, who knows? Maybe that could be enough to shove us down to 12.3K, but I do think 16.4K would be the level that a lot of buyers would step in at. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to clear this out, and we're going to start defining cheap and expensive with some of these levels. So obviously we know 12K, 12.3K, that's cheap. And I think we can all agree if Bitcoin fell down to 12.3K, why wouldn't we buy it down there? It's cheap, right? Now, obviously, it would be very painful to try to buy it down there, and it always will be painful to buy at cheap levels. But that's why not everybody's successful in the market. The people who are willing to deploy capital when things look the worst are going to make the most money. So obviously, that's a cheap level. I think it's pretty safe to say that 16 to 18K. This range, this margin pressure level range here, which is in line with some of the consolidation and pivot levels that we've already seen, the support level that we already saw, is another strong buy range, right? If you've already bought there, maybe you don't buy the second time around and you wait for a cheaper level. I've already bought in this range, so if we drop, I'll probably just turn the DCA back on all the way down. So those are our buy levels. And then as far as our resistance levels, I'll just use these margin pressure levels once more off of our local low here. And this is going to be more of a short-term resistance level than necessarily a long-term resistance level. We're already seeing this resistance between 23 and 26, but we also have this 2x long resistance level. So that's going to probably be my kind of shorter term and resistance level. So I'm going to make a red line, but to denote that it's kind of a shorter term level, I'm going to put that at 35K, shorter term level that I'd probably want to be selling. Now, as far as resistance levels in the long term, I'll throw on the easy bands and we'll look at where we're currently at. We're like 47 to 60K. Again, those are in line with our horizontal levels that we kind of talked about earlier. So 60K, that's going to be a bold, longer term level, as is 48K. So that's our expensive range that we want to look to sell. So we want to look to sell this range. We want to look to buy this range, right? And then anywhere in between there, we just want to manage risk a little bit. So I can throw on our 21-week simple moving average, and we'll also do a downtrend line. And we see that that's currently sitting at a roughly $31,000. So we'll call it 30K in line with all of this resistance. So we go back over, and I'm going to throw in a yellow line. And this is going to be kind of our de-risk level. And I'm also going to throw in a downtrend line, right? So somewhere, and we could also throw on our 21-week simple moving average. This is just kind of my estimate, was this first yellow line in line with, all of this previous resistance, and this is a pivot zone. This kind of region here is kind of where we want to watch Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin comes up into this region, we may want to de-risk a little bit, take a little off the table because we were diligent and bought, right? So we want to lock in some profits, turn around, have some capital ready in case we take another trip down to this level. And if we, fight through these zones and things start looking very bullish, we can just get in on confirmation on the other side, right? And then take larger swaths of profits up here in this 48 to 60K zone if we see that. Now, to be honest, I think it's more likely to take a trip up to, these resistance levels for Ethereum in the shorter term, right, over the next 6 to 12 months than I think Bitcoin. I do think that over the next 6 to 12 months, Ethereum will probably outperform Bitcoin, assuming the merge goes well. So we could do a similar exercise. I'm not going to do it right now because we don't have time. But we could do a similar exercise for Ethereum to find these support and resistance levels. But I would be looking more at these levels, like pre-halving for Bitcoin. So that might be closer to the end of 2023, and we've got a ton of time to just be bouncing in this range for the next 6 to 18 months. Look at how long we spent in this range, right, for Bitcoin in the last bear market. Right, all of this was a bear market, but you could have been, buying undervalued and selling overvalued at any given moment, or for months and months on end, and tearing up this range in terms of making profits, before the Bitcoin halving catalyst. So there's plenty of time still to make money in here, just playing these support and resistance levels and managing risk and looking to accumulate for the next bull market and the next repricing, because ultimately, what's most likely going to happen, in my opinion, and this is kind of the last thought I'll leave with, is next halving, right? Regardless of what happens in between now and then, right? When Bitcoin halves, it just reprices. It just reprices to a new range, right? And while we're kind of below that range right now, I think it's a decent time to have been accumulating. But next market cycle, what's probably going to happen is we'll probably reprice to a new range. And maybe it won't be 200K. Maybe it'll be, 80 to 120K. Maybe it'll be a smaller repricing. But ultimately, you want to be accumulating at the bottom of these bear market ranges so that you maximize your gains on the next repricing and the next halving, the next market cycle. So hopefully that makes sense.
Absolutely. So, you hear a lot, oh, at a bear market, I'm not making money. According to you, if you just kind of follow these lines and know the zones, you can easily make money, right? That's essentially what you're saying.
Yeah, it takes a lot of patience to, it could be 3 to 9 months in between buys and sells. But I mean, we're, ultimately, I think we're just trading in a higher range than we were last market cycle. And if you just define what's cheap and what's expensive in terms of, what you think Bitcoin should be priced at, given the, the current market cycle, and you buy when it's cheap and sell when it's expensive, chances are you're probably going to make money. And are you gonna retire yourself in 6 months? Probably not. Depending on your situation. But it's also, in my opinion, much lower risk to be, just trading these ranges and accumulating, DCAing into Bitcoin when it's under 20K, right? And then looking to turn around and de-risk when it's 30 to 60K.
I actually I put out a tweet yesterday. And it was in reference to kind of where we're at now on the price of Bitcoin and just the potential upside. If you were to look at the price we're at now in the bear market compared to the potential for the top of the bull market. So I referenced last bear market to last, bear market bottom to bull market top. So from basically from 2018 to 2021. And so you had Bitcoin sitting at 6,000 for months, got as low as 4,000 for months, bottomed all the way down with the March 2020 thing down to 3,000. This was over the course of an entire year, and plus more. And even on the high side of the bear market, you know, Bitcoin didn't go over 12,000, I think it was. And so you had the opportunity to pick up Bitcoin at sub 10,000, and then within 2 years, 2.5 years from 10 to 20x. If you were to look at the top, so $65,000 Bitcoin. And so, you know, my argument was like, hey, you know, if you bought Bitcoin at 5,000, 6,000, that's 10x. You bought Bitcoin at 3,000 at the very bottom, which if you happen to time it, 20x. So, I mean, worst case scenario, you're like at 10x essentially. If you're buying the bottom of the bear market, if you're kind of timing out the upside on the market, on the bull market cycle, the next one. And so now my argument's like, hey, we are probably at the bottom. If not, we could probably all agree we're pretty close to it. And even if it's not the bottom, yeah, we're in that range. And you pulled it up with your charts. You know, it's right now you're just trying to figure out what is the exact bottom, but we're pretty close to it. And so if you just were to just the most stable asset in crypto, if you were to pick that up now, you know, not financial advice, but if you were to pick it up now at the bottom of a bear market or pretty close to it, you can rest assured that on the come up of the next bull market, which is only probably 2 years away, you know, you can get it historically a 10 to 20x. I mean, it's pretty
20x from 20K, I don't know.
Yeah.
10x.
Yeah, well, 20, you know what I mean? Like you could see it, you know, people didn't think 65,000 was on the table back in 2017, 2018.
Right.
And so now people don't think 200,000 is on the table in, you know, 2022. But hey, 2025 could come around and, you know, 200K could be, you know, nothing. You know, all it takes is adoption on nation states. People always assume that countries are going to make it legal tender. Like, oh, it's not going to blow up until, you know, US, so you can go out and pay it. Like, no. You know what's going to make it blow up is when countries start putting their treasury assets in there. Countries hold gold. Countries hold precious metals. Countries hold commodities. Countries hold oil. All you have to do is allocate a very small fraction of a percentage of your nation's treasury to Bitcoin. And there's a lot of major players out there. You know, all the EU nations, Japan, US, Canada, South America. It doesn't take but 1 or 2 countries to absolutely FOMO the price. 200,000, 100% on the table. Will it happen? Who knows? But
I would have thought BlackRock would have done that, but I guess not.
But BlackRock isn't buying that themselves. They're just offering the liquidity. Now, yeah, I mean, imagine Canada's like, hey, we're gonna buy $2 trillion worth of Bitcoin. Obviously, it's not even the market cap, but I'm just giving you an example. No, I'm
We're
just
buying
saying,
all of it.
But they could if they wanted to. That's where I'm getting at. Is that, you know, if a nation
But is
state,
that necessarily a good thing?
you can make an argument for it, but it's definitely gonna upside the price.
Yeah.
I mean, in some way, shape, or form.
Anyways, Forrest, is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we send you off into the weekend?
No, looking forward to seeing you guys in what is it, like a week and a half?
Week and a half, yeah. A week from Monday. We are very excited.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're bringing Don
same.
Rocco with us.
There we go.
All right. Forrest, thank you so much again. We really appreciate your time, your knowledge. You bring so much value to our community. We appreciate you. Have a great weekend. We will see you next Friday.
Thanks, you too.
Take care.
See you guys.
All right.
I'm excited, man, to play some cornhole, man. Bag toss.
Nobody's playing cornhole.
When we go to Atlanta, we need the bag toss.
Before we get into a hot take, I want to share a picture. Oh, this is kind of funny. Have you ever seen this meme?
I bet he's thinking about other women.
I wonder if there will be a new hack when I wake up. You know, women always think we're thinking about, no, I'm saying all women, my wife especially. I wonder if he's thinking about this when I'm really thinking about something so obsolete that if I told her, she would be like, no, you're not. So it's a little funny meme. All right, Rocco, hot take.
Yes.
It's hot.
So real quick, before we jump into the hot take, do want to give a couple shout outs here. Brokyoshi gifted 5 memberships to the community. So Brokyoshi, thank you so much. Round of applause for my boy over here. He's spreading the love not only to Sin City Crypto, but also to the community. Shizzy dropped a $4.99 super chat. And then our boy Mark up in here with a dub piece. Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it.
It was actually $19.99.
Hey, man. Whatever.
Just kidding.
Round up here.
Every time Forrest comes on, we got to thank God it's Forrest Friday super chat. Maybe we should bring him on. Kidding. We appreciate you guys. If you're not supporting Forrest on YouTube, on Twitter, please go do so. The man is amazing. Has not asked for a single thing in return. Comes on our show every single Friday. Forrest, we appreciate you. All right. Hot take. It was in the thumbnail. It was in the title. Bitcoin in trouble. Is crypto in trouble? The SEC is investigating all crypto exchanges. Will the gun, Gary Gensler, sue another exchange? Every crypto exchange is under investigation by the SEC, claims an official from the U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis's office. This is a quote from John Deaton. You might know him from the XRP case. Says, I say the SEC will sue an exchange or more than one. The SEC is likely to pick 2 to 4 exchanges that each sell 5 to 10 of the same tokens the SEC claims are securities. It would be one complaint versus several defendants. Sandbag and son of a Gary. So you talked about this, Robin. You said they don't have enough money or time or resources to go after each individual
project. Each individual project. Individual exchanges is completely different because there's only 3 or 4 major exchanges, and they're the ones that have the most money. And why go after all the tokens? Why go after all the securities, as they say, when you can just essentially just go after Binance, Coinbase, FTX, and KuCoin? Just hey, right there, boom. We'll just pretty much take 95% of the liquidity out of the market by shutting those down, right? Yeah. Or at least shutting down their trading of what they deem as a security. You know, at worst case scenario, you can see a situation where, let's just say, hey, you're only allowed in the United States to trade Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's just say that was their narrative. And they were like, yo, that's the rules. You could only trade this and this because we deem them commodities. Or if the CFTC deems it a commodity, then at that point, you can trade them. Everything else off the table. And, you know, that something like that is entirely possible, or at least possible for them to try to, you know, enact that. And so if that's on the table, could something like that crash the market to the bottom of the bear market?
Could that be the final catalyst?
Exactly. And, you know, at some point, you know, I guess it doesn't have to happen, but traditionally, in markets in general, you reach the bottom when there's this absolute disgust and fear and just so much uncertainty that it just collapses the price, and people are they're sick to their stomach on whether or not they should even invest in it anymore. And just imagine if there was a situation where all you can buy and sell is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Or maybe just even Bitcoin. Imagine if that were to happen. The delisting of all assets. Do I think it's likely? Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. Is it a possibility? I mean, obviously, Gary Gensler says it is, right?
I hate that man
and
so much.
Obviously, in some way, shape, or form, somebody in a position of power that can flex their muscle is thinking about that. Now, whether they can get it done, who knows? But you know what? The SEC, they delisted XRP, right?
Yes.
So what's to stop more tokens entering that list by going after the drug dealer? You get what I'm saying? In his eyes. And so kind of uncertainty, man.
Some interest, before I give my take, some interesting comments in the chat. So Talks mentioned, which I think is interesting, BlackRock getting involved in Gary investigating all the exchanges seems conflicting. You can't tell me that the asset manager that the government of the United States went to help bail out the financial companies in 2008 doesn't know what the hell is going on, okay? Why would they partner with Coinbase, who is currently being probed if they knew something was happening. What are your thoughts on that real quick?
I think
They know what's going to happen.
No. Well, here's the thing. These BlackRock isn't gonna walk Coinbase in, do a handshake, and all of a sudden partnership is there 3 days later. These are negotiations that take years to smooth over. And it probably starts with discussion and back and forth and dinners and, hey, come over to our office. And then they're like, hey, well, you're publicly traded now. Cool. We can move forward with this. Okay. What is the implications of you being publicly traded? We're another publicly traded company. Everything has to be transparent. Everything, So I honestly believe that this probably started way before any of this investigation.
But the deal's already done.
The deal's done. But here's the thing. I think they were so far into the process that they were probably just waiting for the announcement. They had the quarterly reports coming out. And so they probably already had the deal inked. And then, what is it, a couple weeks before they go public with their partnership, they were like, oh, hey, y'all are getting investigated. And Coinbase is probably like, well, it's just an investigation. There's no charges. So at that point, they're like, all right, cool. Well, it's already done. So I honestly don't think that BlackRock was like, hey, I know, I will say they probably had some risk assessment. They probably realized there could be conflicting interest when it comes to the SEC and what they're, offering as their products that could be deemed as securities. However, I think they weighed the risk. They're probably like, it is a publicly traded company. They have been operating since 2012, and so we feel comfortable moving forward, even with the possibility of SEC crackdown. And I think that they're looking into Coinbase that popped up 2 weeks ago is not something that was even on the table as far as our partnership when they started negotiating for that. So
okay. Your take is it's possible that this could affect the cryptocurrency markets and we can bottom. Is that what you're saying? Or you think
absolutely.
It's likely? Is it
No,
likely?
no, not likely. Not likely.
Just a possibility.
Highly unlikely.
So you're playing the middle.
But here's the thing. There are people, probably Gary and a handful of other people, that are in a position to actually make that happen. And now whether or not they can execute it, whether or not they even attempt to, but you got to think, you have a branch of government that has the power to restrict your trading as far as an exchange and which assets you offer. They have done it before. They can say you're not allowed to sell, you're not allowed to trade that asset. It's a security. They can say it. They've done it before. You can look at XRP. And so there's realistically nothing stopping them from taking the word XRP or Ripple and replacing it with 120 tokens. There really is not. And then sending that to Coinbase, Binance, KuCoin, FTX, Crypto.com. And so if you think you're living in some la-la land, that could never happen. There's no laws stopping it. There's no laws. There's no framework to stop that. And so if they want to get it done, they can attempt to. Now, whether or not they get pushback from Congress or whatever, or there's loopholes, you can go to Supreme Courts. That's different. That's the law. But I'm just saying, they want to go down that path, and it sounds like they're trying to. It's a path that can play out. That's all I'm saying. And with the markets being in a bear market, you usually don't hit bear market bottom until you're just in absolute fire. And, look at, 2020. People are like, bro, pandemic, everyone's just going to fall over and die. The whole thing. Like everyone, like when the Corona thing first started, bro, it was a lot of speculation on what the world would look like.
Yeah.
And especially when we were in lockdown, remember going out on the streets for the first time in a major city and there's no cars, nothing. You're like, what? Like, this doesn't make sense to my brain.
Vegas looked like Walking Dead.
Exactly. You're going down Las Vegas Boulevard in the middle of the strip, one of the biggest.
The windows are boarded.
Nothing. Lights aren't even on, bro. I'm just like, what kind of crazy zombie apocalypse world am I living in right now?
Yeah, but you're stretching it a little bit. But you're comparing the financial market.
But that's what
I'm
saying is that at that moment, there was so much uncertainty in the future the markets were bottomed. The same thing with 2008. They weren't even sure if the banks, the major bank chains of the world.
AIG had to get a bailout, and they are a reinsurance company.
They were talking about
insure insurance companies, and they needed a bailout.
And
so it was scary.
So basically, you had major banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, essentially about to go under. Like, imagine the regular bank that has your debit card logo on there. That bank was about to go under. Almost all of them. It would have been a chain reaction. It would have been the new depression. Anyways, that got bailed out, pushed out, and all of that debt got inflated into your money supply. And then now, all I'm saying is that you're looking for a market bottom.
All right.
Hey, it could very easily be
the SEC.
The SEC.
You mentioned there's no framework. There's no framework, but there is guidance. Okay, Rocco, pull up my laptop. I'm just going to read just a couple here, okay? Senator Lummis, a staffer, believes Congress would have to step in and resolve the dispute between the SEC and the CFTC to figure out who's going to regulate it if the matter cannot be resolved internally. And when I say there's not a framework, but there's guidance, here's what I mean. The issue stems from 2014 when the CFTC first asserted jurisdiction over virtual currencies. This was later reaffirmed by a U.S. federal court ruling in 2018, which stated that the CFTC had jurisdiction to prosecute criminals over fraud cases involving virtual currencies. However, though, it's been the SEC that's been predominantly investigating the exchanges and crypto assets. So although there is no framework, there is guidance. And a U.S. federal court has already stepped in and reaffirmed that the CFTC has jurisdiction over digital virtual currencies. So if we do get into a tug of, I'm done with the laptop, by the way, Rocco. If we do get into a tug of war between, which we kind of are in already, I want to see the CFTC be more vocal. I want to see them go after. I want to see them take the lead on something. It's like we wait, SEC starts to go in, probe, and then we hear from the CFTC. How about when something happens, CFTC, you jump in there and say, we're taking the lead on this. We haven't seen that yet.
I'm telling you, I keep going back to my idea of why not just have a committee? Instead of having two people fighting over it. And I know you're going to say, hey, let's build a whole nother branch. That's 10 years easily. Easily to build an entire thing, framework, ground bottom, figure it out, assign roles, who does this, how the market works. Like,
Rob, it's been 8 years, bro.
Saying,
8 years since the CFTC was given jurisdiction. And where are we at now? Nowhere.
What I'm saying is that if there was a crypto committee that had people that were...
Who would they answer to? Who would the committee answer to, Robin?
Here's the thing. The committee makes a suggestion on who regulates what. And the people in the committee are voted on. Or they're appointed. So basically you can appoint the people that are, CEOs or people that have been in the market in the same way that you have committees for energy. These are people that have worked in the industry.
There's subcommittees to subcommittees to committees.
But here's the thing. Right now, everyone's just, that's my jurisdiction. And then you have the SEC. No, that's my jurisdiction. Then you have the Treasury Department. That's my jurisdiction. All I'm saying is that why not just form a crypto committee that people all unilaterally agree, okay, you make the decision.
They can't unilaterally agree.
No. You agree.
Who's going to agree, Robin?
Listen, you agree in the same way that all committees are formed. The parties that are involved, they all agree to the committee. Like they agree to the formation of the committee.
By parties involved, are you talking about Republicans and Democrats or the SEC?
You take the SEC, the CFTC, you take the Treasury Department, and then
8 years. 8 years ago, the CFTC was given jurisdiction. So what does the SEC continue to do? Step on their toes. And you're telling me they're going to sit in a room with the CFTC and say, okay.
No. Listen to me. Listen. You make a committee. However the hell you make a committee. They're a crypto committee, okay? You form a committee. That's all you do. You make a committee and you're like, yo, you decide. For the members? Who votes for the members? Stop. Let me talk. You make a committee and you let them decide who has jurisdiction. That's it. It's the most fucking basic thing ever. Every fucking branch of government has a committee. And then you make a crypto committee, and then they look at Bitcoin. They say, okay, Bitcoin fits this box, this box, this box. It is gonna be overseen by the CFTC. Okay, Ethereum, it fits this box, this box, this box. It also fits in the CFTC box. This one, it has no utility case. It has nothing, and it has a token sale. It seems very similar to security at this moment, and maybe we'll reevaluate it in 1 year or 2 years. You are regulated by the SEC. Hey, this one trades like a currency, XRP. It is very similar to a monetary, to a value, dollars. It trades just like a currency. Why don't you get regulated by the Treasury Department? And then if all parties, before they make the committee, say, hey, I agree, a committee is in our best interest because we're just arguing. That's it. I don't understand why we got to build an entire fucking crypto department that would take, you're talking about 8 years. How long do you think it's going to take to build an entire branch of government? You're talking about 20 years of stagnation, at least, minimum. Just put a fucking committee in there and vote 5 people, 10 people into the fucking chairs.
Who's going to vote?
Let them be appointed. Let them vote. Who cares? Form a committee and figure it out.
They're going to be politicians.
Michael Saylor.
Does it really matter?
A committee they're politicians.
They're usually board members. Most committees are former CEOs and former people that have been in the industry. So usually on your committees, they are generally speaking not people unexperienced. They're usually industry experienced people that have insight in that field.
When you talk about government committees, they are politicians. Just depends on where their expertise
they are
is.
technically politicians.
So you're saying outside of the role of Congress.
But they have usually deep backgrounds. Like if you look at the energy sector, technically they sit on as a government employee. Technically they're a politician, but they used to freaking run, Exxon, fucking whatever. They're a CEO there. Those people transition over and work in Congress, and they work on committees. I don't know why we're overcomplicating shit. If people are arguing about, if you have a business, just say you have a business, and every employee is arguing about what their job responsibility is, and be like, well, whose job is it to clean this? And everyone's arguing, it's not my job, it's his job. No, it's his job. What you need is a manager. Doesn't have to be a new owner. You don't have to open up a new fucking restaurant. You don't have to hire a new company. You just get one manager and you're like, okay, I'm going to divvy up the responsibilities here. You, sir, you clean that. You, sir, you are in charge of that. That's all you need. You just need one, not one person, but one committee that just kind of assigns the roles. They just like, yo, y'all take care of this. Y'all take care of this. Y'all take care of this. That's it. It's simple.
So it's simple. Yes, I agree. So then why hasn't it not been done yet?
I don't know. Because nothing fucking works in the government. Nothing.
You know what's funny is we're essentially on the same track, but I'm saying a branch of government, you're saying a committee, but it's essentially the same thing.
No. SEC did not form in a couple months. It did not form in a year. The CFTC did not form. You want to build a branch of government? You think that's going to take how many years do you think that will take? I mean, honestly,
I'm not a political science specialist, so I don't know.
You don't need to be a political. How long does it take to build a branch of government?
If someone knows how long it would take and tells me it would take 10 years, but we can do a committee in a year, I'd be like, okay, committee. Something is better than nothing, because we've had this tug of war for years now. And I don't know what the hell is wrong with Gary Gensler, what his disdain for crypto comes from, why he hates it so much when the man literally taught a class on blockchain at the leading technological school, probably in the world, at MIT. What his thing is, he's just got this thing like, did you lose money? Did you buy the top and sell the bottom and lost money on Bitcoin? Like, what's the deal, bro? What's the deal? What it comes down to, what Robin is saying is not wrong. What I'm saying is not wrong. We're just a little far apart, okay? We need a body to oversee and essentially tell the SEC, you investigate this, CFTC, you investigate this. I think everyone is in agreement for that. If you are in agreement, put a 1 in the chat. All right, let's move on. Rocco, talking points. Some good news if you, I skipped one. Some good news if you have money on Voyager, specifically, you had cash on Voyager, USD, not stablecoin, United States dollar or any other currency. Voyager Digital can repay customers with their $270 million holdings at the Metropolitan Commercial Bank. The judge has ruled. The presiding judge, Michael Wiles, was quoted as stating that Voyager had provided sufficient basis to back up its claims that customers should be allowed to make use of the funds the company holds in a custodial fiat account at the Metropolitan Commercial Bank. Now, the court is still yet to rule on the fate of the funds that are still frozen on the Voyager platform. So there's really no, for me at least, I don't know if Robin's got a take on this. There's really nothing there's nothing for me to say outside of this is good. Obviously, it's something that should have happened. Probably should have happened a long time ago. It's pretty cut and clear.
It's pretty quick, honestly, compared to other, when assets get frozen and money gets frozen. It's pretty quick. Just keep in mind, this is what you had on the exchange in dollar value, USD, not in a token, not in USDT, not in USDC, but in actual just straight up fiat currency. So what is the percentage of that? Probably pales in comparison to the actual amount of assets that are frozen. So that's not even a question. It's a small percentage. And so, you know what? If you had money in the exchange, you could have maybe saw this coming earlier. I know there was a lot of restriction on your withdrawal limits. I think it was like $10,000 a day or something like that, or $1,000 a day.
No, it was 10 grand, but total of 5 withdrawals a day. So anyways, if you saw this coming and you basically sold all your tokens for cash, and then you were just trying to pull it, and then they closed and stopped all trading, at that point, whatever you had in cash, it's good. But all your Bitcoin, Ethereum, every token on their platform, any USDT, any USDC, that's all gone, bro. That's sad. Yeah.
And,
you know what? At least.
But at least yes. At least
we know they kept some of that money at the bank.
Here's if experience tells you anything. I mean, maybe if you're going to keep money on the side to buy on an exchange, you can look at history now, and you can be like, hey, at least don't keep it in a stable coin, because that's not
at least
protected.
you'll have a chance.
Yeah. So, maybe if you're going to use an exchange, which I don't recommend, but hey,
we still advocate for custodying your own.
Yeah. If you're putting money on the exchange, hey, I want to make a buy this week. I'm just waiting for the pullback. I'm waiting for the entry point. It makes sense. You gotta ACH your money over there anyways. If you're going to do that and you're going to keep cash on an exchange, at least put it in the straight real currency.
Yeah.
Because that seems a little bit more protected, at least in this one case.
Right.
And not to say that it couldn't transition over exactly to all the other platforms.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
There is some little bit of good news. Hopefully, though, if you're part of our community, you didn't have any money on Voyager when this all went down, because we were telling you guys, taking money off, trouble's brewing. Anyways, let's move on. Nomad bridge hack earlier this week that took $190 million. Well, yeah, they have recovered a measly $22.4 million, which is about 11.7% of the $100 million, has been returned to Nomad as its team has announced a reward. The team announced on Thursday that it would pay the 10% reward to anyone who returned the tokens to a specific return address, and offered assurances that no legal action would be taken against those who did so. Here is the problem. These bridge hacks, they have been proven and linked back to North Korean hackers. And guess what? They don't give a shit.
Well, not this one yet. Yes.
Correct.
But the last the last 3 or 4
few bridge attacks.
Yeah,
the Ronin was a big one.
Yeah, that's the
Do you think they care about whether you're going to press charges in the United States of America when they're not going to step foot ever in the USA? They don't care. Rewards don't matter. How about from the get-go, you focus more on security and you put more resources towards security and you get that thing audited 50,000 times?
They got to put up a reward. I mean, here's the thing. If somebody stole my wallet and it had $1,000, I'd be like, hey, guys, return it. I'll give you $100.
Sure. Yeah, like Harmony. We'll give you $1 million if you return $100 million.
I'm just saying.
We'll give you.
You got to offer something. I'm just saying, as a
Express.
company, you're not going to be like, we're not giving you anything.
I'm just saying, man.
And you're not, there's no point in returning the money and giving it all back.
For me, it's like, okay, and I know every hack is a little different. I'm not a hacker, I'm not a coder, so I don't know the ins and outs. But your Nomad you just launched. You look at the last 5 hacks. What went wrong? What happened? How did they exploit it? And isn't that what you're supposed to?
This is all complicated coding. It's not like they ignored.
This is someone who's.
It's not like they saw the code. They're like, hey, there's code in here that's gonna.
This is someone who is ignorant to this space coding, just thinking from a common sense perspective. And maybe they did do that. I don't know. I'm just saying, if you eventually see so many of the same hack on the same bridges,
extremely complex software that is years worth of code from top to bottom that has to be perfect from top to bottom. There can't be any discrepancies. Has to be perfect. And the chances when you have 10,000 cryptocurrencies, the chances of having that much code have 0 flaws and then take all that code and then upgrade it and change it and vary it and then tweak it and just keep doing that. And every single time you perfectly write the code so that way nothing incorrectly changes in the past. You can't even come up with a Windows. Windows has been around since 1994 or 1990. Yeah, something like that. And so Windows has been around forever. Windows cannot release an update without breaking your computer. They can literally not do it.
You don't update Windows. How you update a window?
And so you have a company.
You have to.
How do you update a window?
So can I get the terrible joke sound effect here? So 28 years of experience. 28 years of experience. And Microsoft, one of the leading tech companies in the world, 28 years of experience with a team of thousands of people, cannot do an update without breaking the system. And so that's why you proceed with caution. When we say, hey man, this is a new project. Terra Luna came out of nowhere. And I'm just like, hey, I didn't buy any Terra Luna. Did you buy any Terra Luna?
Yes, to swing trade though.
Yeah. And so for me, I'm just like, man, I don't care who you are. That's why I look at Solana. I'm scratching my head. I'm like, bro, this thing's been around for 2 years. Not even. Year and a half. And you all got all kinds of crazy money dumping in there.
Yeah.
And you know what? We don't know what the hell's could potentially go wrong with it.
Where there's
not to mention, there's not the best track record.
Here's the thing. Where there's high risk, there's high reward. Right now in cryptocurrency, we are in the zone of extremely high risk, but extremely high reward because there's just not enough longevity. You're talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then what, like Litecoin, which no one uses, that have been around for more than 5-6 years.
No, but here's the thing. If there's a project that was at the come up of the last bull run in 2017, the bull,
and they make it out of this one.
Yeah, if you were in 2017, I think at this point you can probably rest assured that they have a good probability of making it through. And so
enough to dump hundreds of thousands of dollars.
You're still talking about. What do you mean hundreds of thousands of dollars?
I'm saying 3 years is enough longevity for you to put hundreds.
No, I'm talking about 2017. That's 5 years. 5 years.
Is that enough for you to put hundreds of thousands of dollars into a company?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
But I can mitigate my risk. I can go ham on Ethereum and Bitcoin and then allocate 10% of my portfolio to something else. But you know what's not going to get any exposure? It's going to be something that came out a year ago. Not going to do it. I don't care. I get it. The upside's up there. Crypto and yogurt. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
What kind of yogurt, by the way? Plain yogurt?
No
flavored
Doritos,
yogurt?
please. No
I
Doritos.
love yogurt and Doritos.
Okay, just to let you know, for the first Windows 1.0 operating system was technically released in 1983. I mean, it launched in 85.
85 or 95?
83.
83, and then it launched in 85?
85 officially was.
But the thing is, the Windows 95 was like the real Windows. Because before that, it was
Fake
this...
Windows.
It wasn't what you recognize now.
Actually, it goes even back then. It says it goes back to 1975, where they just used for printing stuff. It wasn't now even Windows back then.
But the interface that we have, the operating system that is your Windows-based computer, that didn't have that look till Windows 95. Before then, it was this weird. It wasn't even, you couldn't even use a mouse on this thing. It was like you had to type everything, and then you had like drop downs. And so the Windows 95 brought in the mouse, the start button, all the little clickable icons. That wasn't a thing before. So
I got a very. I want to move on. I have a very concerning photo to show. Rock up on my left. What the hell is this? Who did this? Solitude on Twitter. Shame on you. Justin's son, and I believe he either co-founded it or he's a major shareholder. Poloniex backed the plan to create a proof-of-work ETH hard fork. ETH miners are fearing the worst should the network's much vaunted move to proof of stake. Should it go ahead next month, it could be thrown a lifeline. With Justin's son and his crypto trading platform Poloniex stating that they will provide support for a proposed proof of work fork. One solution to this problem was put forward by the Chinese miner Chandler Guo, who has said he will fork ETH to create the proof of work version of ETH. We talked about this, I believe, a few weeks ago. And Justin's son, the founder of Tron, has suggested he will back the move. If the Ethereum hard fork succeeds, we will donate some forked ETH to the community. I believe he's got more than 1 million ETH. What the hell is Justin's son doing, bro? Bro, focus on your own blockchain, man. You got Tron, you got BitTorrent, which has done nothing. USDD, which has depegged more than I don't even know what. And you're over here
you can
worried.
generate millions of dollars by forking a major chain, especially if you have already a community that's willing to at least.
It's just like,
I'm just saying, like you're asking why. Like I'm just letting you know. Like you literally launched an Ethereum fork, and if you have a big name, you can quickly generate $500 million.
like okay, that's like.
I'm just saying, like that's
money.
That's how it's done, bro. Like if you I'm just saying if you had no principles, I'm just saying if you had no principles and you had no morals and you really didn't care and money was the how many people do you know in your personal life that are money hungry?
Wait, I know people in my life?
I'm just saying.
Kidding. Well, but
Think of the people that you've interacted with
that are money hungry?
Money is they hold money above a lot of other
Well, I don't
things.
start with the letter K, but
They hold money over a lot of other ideologies. And so
It's
what's
just
funny is that the people that have money are a lot of times the people that have that mentality, right?
It's just a bad look.
Okay. Let's just say you take one person that is super money hungry. Do they have a lot of money?
Probably not.
Could they live their life not as money hungry? Probably. But yet nothing's ever enough. So just think this is the human condition, brother. This ain't well, you have a lot of money. I don't understand why you want to create a fart. Bro,
It's not about the money, Robin. It's about the perception. Like you are the founder of a top 15 cryptocurrency project, and you're over here like you want to put your stamp on an ETH fork. So you're essentially you're Vitalik's up here instead of seeing yourself up here with Vitalik.
It doesn't.
You're down here.
It's $500 million easy.
Hey Vitalik, what you worked hard for and created, I'm going to use that to make a name for myself, bro.
I'm just saying, bro.
Clown.
It is it's an easy come up, bro. It's an easy paycheck.
Clown. If I had money in Tron, I'd dump it immediately. I would dump it immediately. Like, bro, you're the leader, and we're following you. Like if Charles Hoskinson went out and said, Polkadot, I'm going to fork it and I'm going to dump all my Polkadot. What? Focus on your own project.
He didn't say he's going to dump it, but.
No, but he's saying we got 1 million in ETH. We'll donate it to the new chain. What? Get out of here. Let's move on.
Also, we got
Islab.
Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. And also, Voice Crypto. He's been here before, right? Anyways. Hola! And they're just paying you whatever.
No. I'm saying if ETH is not there anymore, and you're worried,
but
what am
I'm
I doing with all these GPUs?
But
There's
at the
other
end of the
chains, and there's stuff like unmineable. I'm just saying, like the whole people are scared. Justin's son's over here. Oh my God, people are going to lose money. No,
If
they're
you're
not.
going to go through the process of setting up mining rigs, don't go and just mine at a generic
Justin's
website.
son, you're being a baby back. You know what? All right. Real quick NFT news, and then we'll wrap this thing up. That's not right. Should we run the intro? Yeah. Run the intro. No audio. All right. We talked about this earlier this week. Tiffany and Company, they partnered with CryptoPunks for the NFTs. And guess what? They sold out instantly. Instantly sold out. Priced at 30 ETH, the 250 pieces sold out in 20 minutes, bringing in more than 12.5 million United States dollars. The collection sold out in around 20 minutes. NFTs, if you're not familiar, are digital passes that CryptoPunk NFT holders can redeem for a digital artwork based on their original punk. And each piece of the digital art will be accompanied by luxury pendants in the same design. And is there right here? This is dope, man. If I had a CryptoPunk, I would pay, if I had 30 ETH, I would pay 30 ETH for one of these. There is zero question, in my mind at least, and I'm curious what Robin's going to think, that they're going to do more. They're going to get up to that 10,000 because they only did 250. Robin, agree, disagree?
I just think it's funny how you're mad that Justin's son's out here on a money grab, and you're like, Tiffany's selling $30,000 little pendant.
Tiffany,
just
It's
saying.
fine.
no. You're comparing apples to oranges, bro. You're comparing apples to like rocks, not even in the same class of fruit.
I'm just saying.
It's totally different, bro. You're talking about competitors, supposed competitors. One is using the other person to make money. This one,
I'm not
is just,
saying I disagree with this business model. I just think it's funny how you're so adamantly upset with Justin's son having a cash grab,
No.
selling something that he doesn't.
It's not about it. No, I'm
he's-
not. No. Here's where we're mistaken, Robin. I'm not mad it's a cash grab. I'm not.
And
I'm
you
just
don't think
ups-
this is a cash? You don't think
No.
that's overpriced $30,000 for that? I mean,
Why
if you
don't you listen
if
to
you
me,
were to
bro?
if you were to take this pendant down to the pawn shop and they were to pull all the stones out, how much do you think that thing actually costs to make? I'm just saying it probably
$20.
is like $200-$300 selling for 30 racks. And that is probably the definition of a big ass greedy company straight cash grabbing. And then yet you have Justin's son over here trying to fork another chain, which is common practice, and you're just like, "Ah!"
I'm not mad about the cash grab. I'm not upset about the cash grab. I'm upset at what he's doing. He's taking Ethereum and he's trying to fork it when he should see himself and Tron as a direct competitor, not a subordinate to Vitalik and Ethereum. We all know an ETH fork is not
Okay.
going to work.
What do you do as a competitor with another business across the street? You try to cause chaos. And so
Here we go.
you don't think so?
No, go ahead. I know what you're doing. I know exactly
Okay,
what
let's
you're
just
doing. Go
say
ahead.
you got a gas station on the other side of the street is another gas station. Y'all are competing. Your buddy, he works for the city. And you're like, hey man, we got to tear up the streets. He's like, hey, why don't you shut down the right turn lane across the street, redo, put the piping in there. That'll be closed for a year. Of course they're gonna do that why? Because they want to cause chaos and havoc for the competitor. And that's what Tron's doing. He's all like, yo, our biggest competitor, the biggest competitor for them. And remember, Tron's not too far off, honestly. Think about it. They're in the, they were in the top 10. I don't think they're anymore. But anyways, they're trying to cause chaos. They got a merge coming up. They're like, hey man, how can we try to mess this thing up? You saw what they did to Terra Luna. Supposedly they had a big hand in the pot in that, right? He was buying. Yeah, he was buying a bunch of UST tokens. And remember, Do Kwon's like, Justin Sun, what are you up to over there? A week before the chain went down, caused chaos. And what did this chaos do? Eliminated an entire competitor. And I'm just saying, man, you're sitting here saying that the dude he's like, what's he doing? He should stay in his lane. You know what? He's actually pretty good at causing destruction. So maybe he's onto something here. That's all I'm saying.
You know what, Robin? That is actually a really good point. That is a really good point. Amen. Cheers to you, bro. That was a good point. I know that was a good point.
I know you think all of these business guys.
I will give you your props. That was a really good point.
I know.
And I didn't think that did not cross my mind. I will be honest, that did not cross my mind.
The way I look at it, the way I look at multi-billionaires, guys that have not only.
We see Sam Bankman-Fried do it.
Anyway, here's the thing: with multi-billionaires, when you look at these extremely wildly successful people that have basically broke the system for their own gain. That you look at Justin Sun, even before he got into crypto, I mean, he had all kinds of accolades and all kinds of accomplishments and companies he started and sold. And anyways, the dude at core is an absolute beast of a businessman, right? And so you can't debate that. So if a man takes a fundamental, huge business decision, don't think at face value it is just cut and simple and like, well, what... The dude, he got a plan, bro. I'm telling you.
That's a good point.
Billionaires, that's why I always push back. I'm like, yo, y'all think this Sam Bankman-Fried guy, like he's all sunshine and rainbow trying to prop up the market. He's he's over here playing chess, bro. He's playing chess and he's trying to take people out and win the game. And that's what the most successful business people do. And so Justin Sun's trying to launch an Ethereum fork. A lot of layers to that. That's all I'm saying.
No, I will give you, that's a very good point. I could see him trying to cause chaos, trying to get traction behind the new the forked ETH, and then just essentially tank the proof of stake one. I could see that. That's a very good point. You know, that might go up on our YouTube channel as a separate video. All right, we're done. Anything else you guys want to add before I sign us off? Guys, check out the merch store. A lot of cool stuff on there. Our main man, Rocco, he runs it. He adds new stuff all the time. Also, if you're a whale member, you get 10% off for life as long as you are a whale member. Also, huge shout out to Broke Yoshi. Spreading the love, gifting 5 memberships. So the way it works is you'll have it for a month, and then if you like what you have, and if you like that, you can just go ahead and re-up on it. And yeah, that's all I got. Gentlemen, anything else you want to add?
That's it.
Rocco?
Yeah, have a nice weekend. Thank you.
Lit us up. Insert yourself. Friends, I roll the outro. Friends, family, and friends of family. We would like to thank you so much for ending your week with us here at Sin City Crypto. We appreciate all your support. We are a growing channel. We have one of the, I truly believe, and this is not blowing smoke up anyone's, you know what, we have one of the most best active, fun, supportive communities in the crypto space. You know anyone that's looking to get some good crypto information and a nice community, bring them over to Sin City Crypto. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you Monday at 10:30 a.m. Peace.